Hello and welcome to the Arsenal Bite Size Podcast. I'm your host Clayton at Clates AFC on Twitter. We're back. It's been a few weeks. Season 3 kicked off with a short reaction video to the fixtures when they were announced. Can't even remember when that was now, probably start of July. But like the players, we're doing our own pre-season. We're easing ourselves back in. And as you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, we've got a guest. We're not with Nima today. We're with a long-term Arsenal fan, Rocky Nico. How are you doing, mate?
Yo, it's good, man. I'm really happy to be here. As I was saying, the season is upon us, so I just can't wait, man. It's gonna be
I
sick.
know. How are you feeling? Because from an Arsenal perspective, I've been missing it. But from a football perspective, I don't know about you. I found the Euros incredibly boring, and I felt a bit like bored of football to an extent in the summer. And I think now the Olympics have come, I'm like, okay, I like the Olympics. It's general good vibes. I was lucky enough. I went out to Paris for a few days, and I don't know. I feel like I'm ready for Arsenal now. I feel like I've had my little break. The Euros bored me to death, and it's like, bring me back the Arsenal. How are you feeling?
I'm the exact same, man. I feel like we've missed it for so long. Just being back in the North Bank, getting the odd away day in, like it's just so exciting. And even the pre-season, I don't know about you, but I've been watching it and I'm like, damn, what a breath of fresh air to see Arteta on the touchline, all our boys. Much better than watching Southgate. Well, I tell you that.
Yeah. So fair play. So have you actually watched both of the games in Bournemouth and Man
um,
United?
I watched the highlights for the
Sure.
United game, but the first one, the Bournemouth one, I stayed up
Wasn't
to
that
watch
like
it.
3 in the morning or something in
Yeah,
UK
I
time?
know it's wild, but we were that down bad from not having Arsenal, so I was there for it.
You're a better man than me. Yeah, that one I swerved. I was like, I think it was like the night before I was going to Paris for the Olympics, and then Man United game I was actually in Paris. But the Liverpool one I think is like 1 in the morning, so a bit more
Yeah.
reasonable. So I intend on watching that one. But before we get into it, obviously you got a really cool story, which is why I wanted to kind of get you on, share your story, and there will definitely be people watching and listening that wouldn't have heard about your story. So we'll get into that. But before we do, would you mind telling me a bit about your kind of journey becoming an Arsenal fan, where you were born and brought up, your connection to the club? How did you stumble upon this great club and become a fan?
Yeah, cheers, man. So it's kind of crazy. Like I didn't really have a choice growing up, really. I live in Holloway Road. So that's where I was brought up. I went to primary school on Holloway Road. Walking past the stadium is part of my everyday life, really. So I literally can't escape it. There's no other club that I could deviate elsewhere to. So no, I'm just really sort of blessed to have that privilege, be very nearby in the sense of if there's like an event going on or something, or like the players are coming in for a training day, like there's just that a little buzz happening in the area constantly, which I'm so grateful to be a part of. So yeah, man, I'm just hooked in that regard. So really blessed.
That's amazing. So you're a proper N5 local boy then as well. So yeah, I
Yeah.
imagine growing up in that. So I'm from Enfield, which unfortunately is a very Spursy area, but
Mm.
not too far from kind of Finsbury Park, Arsenal area. But
Mhm.
growing up in Holloway itself must have been amazing. What are some of your earliest memories from growing up in that area and connected to the Arsenal Football
Yeah.
Club?
So I'm actually a 2000s baby.
Okay.
So I missed like the best era, but my early glimpses was of the 04-05 finals with Vieira scoring the pen. And then I have fond memories of the final salute season as well. It's kind of crazy because like I was new to that scene, so I didn't understand what leaving Highbury meant, but I
Sure.
got the atmosphere and the emotion of it towards the end. Like I was on sort of Gillespie Road on that final day. It was almost like a parade or like a just a nice send off, a farewell, And moving to the Emirates is actually sort of closer to where I live on this side of Holloway. So it sort of brings me close to that, and that's sort of our fortress now, isn't it? So
Nice. So as a 2000s baby, like you said, you kind of missed out on some of the best years.
mhm.
I'm guessing in school you got a lot of shit and banter from Man United North London fans. And
Yeah.
how are you feeling now though, coming out the other end? And with this project under Arteta, Edu, because I was born in 1995, so
Yeah.
I caught a glimpse of that kind of really successful era. I was a kid, so do I remember it off the back of my hand? No, but yeah, I went through that similar period where school was horrendous for me, and
Yeah, no.
coming into it now, it's a different era. So how are you finding this period? I know we've only won one FA Cup under Arteta, but I think there's more to come.
Yeah, 100%. There is definitely more to come. Like, I'm looking at the way things are now, and I'm thinking, I'm so happy that the success, or what is, what we're on the cusp of, is happening now, where I'm sort of an adult and I can understand the game more. I'm able to go to games alone, and I've got like a crop of friends that I link up with. I think that's what's amazing. Like, being an adult and being able to remember it vividly is so important, whereas when you're a kid, it's sort of all blurry. But yeah, this team is something special, man. I've never felt so connected as a fan to this sort of this club at the moment. It's just been so amazing, like unbelievable.
Yeah, I can't echo that enough. I've been very lucky that even though I didn't have a season ticket my whole life, I was always like a junior gunner, then a red, then a silver. So I've been going every year since I was about 7 years old, and I've had a season ticket for about 5-6 years. And there were periods, especially under the Emery era and the back end of the Wenger era, I was going, but it was more like going with the motion sort of thing, whereas I feel so connected and like all my senses are present. And like I used to just go turn up for a game, go home. Now I'll make a day out of it. Sometimes end up at home 7 a.m. the next day after playing bloody Bournemouth at home on a Saturday. So what's that about? It's an unbelievable period at the minute. But yeah, so do you have a season ticket then, or are you on a membership?
So you know what? I used to go to the games via the ticket exchange in like 2021. Sure. That whole season, I didn't miss a game, and the following one. And it happened to be that one time I got a ticket on the exchange. The guy who was next to me said that was his ticket as well. So he owned 2 tickets basically, and one was just going spare. And I was like, listen, man, like I don't miss a game. I'll never miss a game, like for anything. So I was like, to save you the hassle, I'm willing to sort of go on a game by game basis or rent however you want me to do it. And I've gained a very special bond with this guy, and it's in Block 5.
Nice, proper.
You're Block 5 as well?
I'm not. Unfortunately, I'm in the East Stand, upper tier, but okay. I go pre-match. Block 5, 6 is where it's at in the whole. So I'm always there before the game, partying away and stuff, and then unfortunately go up to the boring East Stand after. But one day I'll be in the North Bank, hopefully.
Yeah, no, man, it's so amazing there. But you know what? That stadium is so beautiful. No matter where you sit, there's always an atmosphere there, or not so much an atmosphere, but the view is perfect.
Yeah. I think that's the thing with my seat. I can't so for people that listen long term, they'll know like I'm such a nerd with tactics and seeing that side of the game. So I love that. But unfortunately, in the upper East Stand, you do miss the atmosphere that you do get in the North Bank, especially the lower North Bank, and obviously the Clock End. Less so last year, but the year before with the Ashburton Army kind of spearheading that, the North Bank and Clock End going back and forth was rocking. So yeah, I think it will. I think it will get back to that level again, but atmosphere has definitely been great the last couple of years. One thing I want to get into is obviously what I've kept for a while. You have got probably the coolest job out of anyone I've ever heard of. Can you talk about what you do? I don't even know how to introduce it.
Yeah. So it started in lockdown, really. So I sell basically Arsenal shirts like this, like the vintage ones, and also current as well. I don't shy away from the modern shirts because they're just as sort of sentimental. But yeah, I basically buy and sell sort of Arsenal shirts. I'm the CEX of it, basically.
Okay.
But I don't chug 20 monsters a day.
You're not listening to Blink 182 all day either.
Nah, I promise you. But yeah, that's basically me, man. And I've met so many international fans through it. I have people who send in requests. People want shirts like personalized. I do like fortnight drops as well, so once every 2 weeks. But yeah, it all started during COVID, and now I'm here, man. It's mad.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, well, first of all, congratulations for transitioning into that full time. Because I remember we spoke a couple of years ago on Twitter, and I think at the time that's when you were just launching it and getting it off the ground. But how did you kind of get into that? Because I know you used to work for the club in the Armory. Was that a kind of trigger, a lever to get into what you're doing now?
Yeah, sort of. So I used to work obviously at the Armory in like the Puma era days, and of course we all knew like the Puma shirts, like they weren't the best.
Yeah,
So I'd sort of like did my research. Like when I was working in the store, I used to see the retro range quite a lot, and I always gravitated towards that. But I always wanted the raw product, like the real deal from back in the day, and sort of like that's what I sort of went into in my own interest while I was working there. And I built up like a collection and stuff. And then obviously COVID hit, as I was saying, and there was no job at Arsenal basically. There was no shifts, and I was only on a 0 hour. So it was practically impossible to generate an income. So being broke at the time, I just sold what I had in my collection. And I remember I did like a big sort of just a cleanse of my wardrobe of Arsenal stuff on Depop, and people were like just asking me like, "Oh my God, have you got more? Do you know where to get this or whatever?" And it became a mission to sort of help fans. Really, I was like, "Yeah, like I think I know someone," or it became a thing of sourcing and networking, and then. It's crazy, man. I had like neighbors on my road who'd have Arsenal shirts, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I don't mind selling and whatever." And it's just unbelievable, like what it's become like now from then. But that's how it sort of originated, which is crazy, man.
that's amazing. And obviously, you touch on there, like you kind of source different kits. You get a lot of personalized requests and stuff. What is one of the most rogue or unique requests you've had, and B, how do you actually go about sourcing things that are so rare?
Yeah. So the first one, damn man, there's been so many like rogue ones. Like a lot of people, when they build their collections, they don't like to be sort of the typical fan where they get like a Saka or an Odegaard or whatever. But going back in sort of the Arsenal time, people like to get like Jeffers or Frimpong or like Benayoun, just like these crazy names that you just never like expect, like a Traore or just yeah,
Never
man.
players that were like actual first team staples. That's really
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, that's what I really.
Any idea why?
I think it's again just to be different and just not be like the same as sort of what people would grab. So like Henri is like the icon for the O2 era of shirts, but
Yeah.
then as I said, some people prefer Ali Adier or someone up and coming at that time, or someone they had high hopes for. But yeah, and I think the other question was how I go about sourcing them,
Yeah,
right?
how do you actually source them? Yeah, because I think it might. I'm so stupid that I'm sat here and not an Arsenal top. So again, people that know me personally will know I'm the biggest sucker for football shirt collections and specifically Arsenal retro. I've literally just moved house, so
Yeah.
everything's in a suitcase. I just grabbed the first t-shirt I could find today. So I would have sat here in a retro top joining you, but when I'm going at lockdown was when that interest in me started as well, ironically. But when I'm trying to find a shirt, I'll kind of go on eBay, Depop, like you mentioned, classic football shirts, or just search Twitter. So
Yeah.
what is it that's kind of your USP on why people should go through you, and how is it you actually go and source things for people?
Yeah. See, the thing is with me is like it's guaranteed to be like authentic. And it's crazy because like the prices have shot up so much in the last few years. But when it comes to sourcing a shirt and people go through like the pre-order section on my site. So they basically pay and then I sort of generate the shirt and process it. Yeah, the thing that I can guarantee is that it's just in the best quality that it can be. So I go through a process of where like I restore them, I clean them. But I've just gathered a network over the years where like you even have I know some like resellers themselves who they just like scour car boot sales and everything, and then they just sort of come to me because they know I'll be looking for it. So the search has kind of narrowed down in the sense of like back in the day, I was that guy where, I'd be constantly on the hunt, sniping and stuff like that for shirts. But I'm sort of fortunate in a way that it's come to me now. Like I get fans coming to me saying, listen, like I love what you do. These shirts, they don't really have anything going for me at the moment. I like to let them go and move them on to the next fan. And, I'm the sort of middleman for that. So I'm really lucky that it's all sort of coming to me now, like being that source and being that credible sort of person for it, which is really sick that people trust me in that sense. So
100%, yeah, and that's a credit to you. I think that doesn't happen by accident. So yeah, fair play to you, and with the consistency, and obviously you're a good guy. So what's obviously you mentioned in the 2000s and stuff, people, well, not even the 2000s, you mentioned people were typically looking at like a Frimpong, an Ali Adier, a Beno Youn. Are you noticing any trends at the minute? Obviously we've just had a period of, I'd say, mixed kits. Like the kind of the black away one was unbelievable. That was really popular. I think the home one with the gold was mixed. I personally loved it. I loved the pink one a few years ago. The yellow one last season, mixed opinions on it. I personally didn't like it. But are you noticing a trend at the minute in what people are going for when they're coming to you for requests?
Yeah, so a lot of people love like the player version shirts nowadays.
I personally don't, because I've got a beer belly. So
yeah, I think like a lot of people they're gravitating towards that a bit more, which like back in the day it wasn't so much a thing. Like nobody would really, you couldn't even go to a store and buy like a player version. So that sort of trend I'm seeing.
Do you know why that was? Because obviously it'd be like you used to work in the armory. Was there a business decision around that? Why you could never go and get that and now you can?
Yeah, I'm not sure particularly. I think so when I was working there, it was actually the first season they introduced it, which was the 18-19, which was Emery's season. That was the first season. I think they were just selling it for like athletes who would want to sort of wear it during like a five-a-side or just just for everyday use. But I remember those were so tight, like really, really skin tight, which
they're not flattering for 80% of the people that go to the Emirates. Let's be real.
Yeah, it's mad. But in the new sort of player shirts, they've engineered them and designed them to sort of be less of that sort of style, where it's skin tight and more sort of breathable, and you can sort of rock them in that regard. But yeah, like the photo that's on here right now, that's actually a player shirt, and they just, I don't know, it makes you feel sort of closer to the players as well. That you're wearing the same thing that they'd wear when you're watching them. So that's the sort of trend I'm seeing. Yeah.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, like I said, I think for me personally, I just find them a bit uncomfortable when I wear them. I like loose clothing and stuff, so maybe I've started running again recently, so yeah, maybe in a few months they'll fit me a bit kinder. But
nice.
Just give a shout out to one of our long-term listeners, Christopher Tellis. He's in. How's it going, guys? Have this on in the background whilst at work. Don't tell the employer that. Chris has got a question which I'll come back to in the end, which is something I wanted to ask you as well. Another question I've got is, I know there's a few of our listeners that, like me, they love buying retro football kits, and I know I've definitely been caught out with non-authentic ones. Is there any advice you would have for people that they've already, I don't know, they're going through buying something, and like, I know you said you go and make sure everything's authentic. Is there any basic advice you can give to people to make sure they don't get conned or caught out?
I think like it's okay. Like I know a lot of people get scrutinized for wearing fakes, but like again, there is a massive price difference. As long as you're aware and you're sort of calm in it within yourself, it's not that sort of big a deal. Like just wear what sort of fits you, and that price point can be a drastic difference. But in terms of like distinguishing them between the two, I'd say just have a look on Google. Just if you're going to buy a shirt, let's say the 95, 96, like the one I'm wearing right now, and you're unsure about if it is real, just head on Google, put in the shirt, and they will bring up the results for the legit ones, mostly at the top, and just sort of weigh out the differences. I think they're getting better nowadays, but there are subtleties that you can see that once you like really scope into it, it becomes glaringly obvious. So defo be on your toes in that if you are building a collection that you want it to be like a fully legit one. But if you just want to, rock a shirt that, you feel is retro, and even if it is like a replica, like go ahead with it, man. Like I'm not going to scrutinize, because some people have attachments to shirts, and they can't
Yeah.
always find the legit ones because they are hard, to
And
sort.
yeah, like you said, it's definitely a financial thing as well. Like I've definitely
Mm.
consciously gone and got a couple of fakes because I was like, I like that kit, but am I going to go and spend however much it is? Probably not, when you can get knockoff ones for 30, 40 quid.
Yeah.
But every now, sorry, go on.
No. I fully get that, man. Like, yeah.
Yeah, but there are like one of my favorite ones, which thankfully I didn't have to go and buy myself. It was actually my dad's one. Was the 2002 gold one when we won the league at Old Trafford, and I've actually got an authentic one of them, which was my dad's, and they're my favorite ones, where it's like passed down a generation. And I'm hoping like one day, if I have kids, and well, they're not gonna have a choice, they'll be Arsenal fans, like that will be passed on to them, and I like those sort of ones. But yeah, outside of the business, do you have your own collection, or has it become a bit of a chore, let's say, or no? You've got your
Never
own.
at all, man. Like, it's a blessing. Like, it's really cool because like I've built up a collection over time where like I'd have it to buy it intentionally for the site, and then it just becomes a thing of like, damn, this is too nice to let go. Yeah, if you don't mind me, can I grab a shirt and actually show you?
Of course, go for it. Yeah, I'll go. I'll shout out a couple of the guys in the meantime.
Nice.
So yeah, Rocky Nico's just gone off to get a couple of the shirts to show us, and yeah, I'm excited to see what he's got. We've got Marsh's in the chat in the meantime. Probably just a money thing in the end. It's a good reason for a business to be able to put out an even more expensive kit for those that are willing to pay more. Yeah, very true, to be fair.
Yeah.
Go on. What have you got for us?
It's not like a retro one, but it's literally one off the back of last season. It's this goalkeeper shirt.
Okay.
It's not a match worn, but it's like an issued one to Raya. And
nice. So what
crazy.
do you mean by issue worn? So what was it you said? It's not match worn, it's issue something.
Yeah, it's issued. So they'd have it like in the dressing room or something like that, or they'd have it at like the training ground, because this actually wasn't commercially available to like release.
Wow.
For the public. So the only way you could get it is sort of through that avenue. But it brings like fond memories, and it was like what Raya wore in the Porto game, where
I was just going to say, was that the penalty shootout one?
Yeah, this is the penalty shootout one, and it's just like a shirt like this where I'd get it for the site, and I look back on it, and I was fortunate enough to work with TNT on the day for some content, and that game has such a great meaning for me that it's a prime example of a shirt that I hang on to.
That's amazing.
And it just sits on display in my office, my home office, even in the living room at times. And it's just, these shirts they mean so much. It's crazy what fabric can do.
I know. No, but like you said, it's not just the material, is it? It's the emotion that comes with where you were for that game. And it's so that, as an example, that's cool. So you were filming with TNT for like, how were you able to source that one if it wasn't commercially available?
Yeah, so
basically, did you rob David Raya?
No, I didn't rob David Raya. I mean, fortunately, like, working with the club for so many years, I've sort of met people within that circle who, they know what I do and stuff like that. So at the end of the season, let's say when, the season's done, these have no use to them. So they're just like, do you want it for your collection or whatever? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's amazing. But again, that's just being lucky in the sense of like, I've worked at the club to bring me that opportunity.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's luck. I think, not everyone works for the club and then goes on to do what you do. So, I don't think it's luck. I think it's hard work and using initiative. So,
thanks, bro.
That's that is cool though. Like I said, I've never really heard of that kind of distinction between match worn and kind of issued. So, that's pretty cool. So final few before we wrap up and get out of here. So in terms of your business, kind of couple plugs for it. How do you promote yourself usually? You said you have a website. Is it social media? Where can people find you and come to you if they want to source kits?
Yeah, I'm at Rocky Nico on Instagram as well. I'd say my content is more sort of consistent and active on there than it is so much Twitter. I like to chat a lot of rubbish on Twitter. Like
Don't we all?
I'm there complaining about something all the time. But yeah, Instagram is definitely one avenue to reach out on or connect on. And also the website as well. I've got like a little chat area if anybody wants to discuss anything. But yeah, I'd say those two are the main where you can find me.
Nice one. Sounds good. So yeah, we'll just go through a few of the final questions before we get out of here.
Let's
Just
go.
before we do that, quick shout out to Chan. Afternoon, mate.
Hello?
Is it afternoon?
Yeah,
Well,
it is now, isn't it?
yeah, might be in a different time zone. To be fair, Christopher Telles. It's not a question, but just a comment. Here in Kenya, there are plenty of stores that sell fake shirts, which usually go for the equivalent of £7 and drop down to £3 when the season ends. I remember when I was a kid growing up, kits were literally like 20-30 quid, and now I've not actually bought any of the current crop yet. I don't know, what do they retail for now, like 80?
They retail like 80, 85. Yeah, and the player versions are like 110 now, which is
Wow.
But the thing is, like back in the day, like if you measure up the inflation, it's about the same in that sense, like putting the two together.
Yeah. So yeah, question from Christopher Tellers. What would you guys rank as your favorite kit we've had since re-signing with Adidas, and what's the worst?
Oh,
I'll let
like
you go.
that. Yeah, this Adidas era has been really cool. There's been more hits than misses, which is always a great thing. Oh, man, my favorite kit, so difficult. I think the black and gold is the easiest one to like gravitate towards because it was so stylish and had great memories in it. But you know what? I think the 2022-23 home is like sort of the reimagined versions of this, the one with the collar. I think for me, just the memories of that season, just the vibes at the start of that season as well. And we got Gabby Jesus, the Bournemouth goal. I think that for me, that season was when I really, really, really felt like, I love this club more than sort of anything. So I'm going to say that one was my favorite. My least favorite, I'd say, it's probably last season's away, but not saying that I don't like it. It grew on me, but that's just not everybody's cuppa, and I totally get it.
Do you think that is a kit that with time will become a bit of a popular one, like a nostalgic kit?
Yeah, I think it will. I think like at the start of the season, that shirt was sort of very easy to get a hold of. Very easy. Like nobody wanted it. Like it sat in the stores untouched, like the replica version and the player version. But then like at the end, like it became sort of a bit more difficult to source. And even now you can't really always find what you want when it comes to that shirt. So I think people will look back on it one day and be like, damn, they really went all out, didn't they?
Yeah, because that's the bruised banana one. Obviously, you probably see this a lot in your business. Like, I've got that, and do I like it per se? Not really, but it's like such an iconic kit.
Yeah.
And I do wonder, had we won the league last season and won it away at Old Trafford in that bruised banana reincarnated kit, would that then become a real popular one? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how it works.
Yeah, 100%, man. Like if City, like let's say Tottenham beat City or drew when Son, deliberately stuffed it that game. If let's say we went on to win at Old Trafford that day, it would have been just carnage. I think everybody would have just like loved that kit, loved that moment when Trossard squared it. I mean, was it Havertz squared it to Trossard? Yeah, that way. Yeah, that would have been iconic as hell.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's happening next season anyway. Marsh is in with a comment. My brother's 98-99 kit is the first I remember getting given. Nike one with the JVC on the front. That old Arsenal badge hits different. It does. The old Arsenal badge, it's like you've got it on there. It's it's special. And then final question before we get out of here is just how are you feeling for the season? So not a kit related one, just obviously last year it was 89 points. in the league. Record amount of wins for us. Quarterfinal Champions League. A bit disappointing in the domestic cups, but predictions for the season, expectations?
Oh man, predictions. The predictions are always hard. I think I'm gonna say we're like third time's a charm. I think this time is the time, with a lot of sort of uncertainty going around City at the moment. But it's just mad because don't they ever like come to a point where they're like, yeah, we've done our jobs, we've won the Champions League, we won the Prems back to back to back, however many times. What's going to tip us on off the edge is what's going to be important. So I do hope we get there. I think we can, man. Like our squad looks really, really solid at the moment. Even if we don't per se sign a striker, I think it's definitely up there with the best. I still think we were the best team last season, regardless, though.
So do I. I just think varianced in a couple of games, and I think if you roll that dice 10 times in a couple of them games, and it goes our way. But that's how, as Arteta says, the margins, right? They're so fine. But one thing I agree with you though, like, so I'm actually going through a career change at the minute, and I'm retraining as a sports psychologist. And what you say about Man City, like they've done this, they've done that, and they still find a way. Because I was once they won the treble, I was in that camp of people that said, I think they would drop off. And I didn't think they'd go from like first to fifth. It was more when the margins are that fine. I thought even if it's a 1% drop off, it will be enough points. And they just find a way to regroup and go again to another level. But this season, there are, like you say, there's rumours, there's uncertainty around a couple of key players. Haaland is struggling with fitness in pre-season, apparently. I don't know. There's something about it this season. But outside of them, I just look at us, and it's year-on-year improvement for us. And like I've not even bloody asked you about Calafiori, and obviously how popular has his kit been and stuff. But has that generated a lot of business for you?
Not so much business, but I did a lot of content over the day he signed. So I was sitting with Chan Lower North Bank, the guy who was in the chat a while ago.
Okay,
we were just chilling in the Drayton Arms, which is just reopened in N5, and we sat there and we was like, damn, like we got a new signing, and I was like, damn, my like ritual was to like get a kit of our first new signing. So we headed down to the shop, we got the shirt, did like a video on it, did like some photos. You could see Chan's photos on Arsenal's Insta as well.
Nice.
And just the kit with his name, the Calafiori 33, it looks banging, and a lot of people have sort of said to me, great choice, like, the double digits, just the new sign and the vibe.
Nice.
It's amazing. And hopefully, I don't know, maybe we can see him in action tonight.
I hope so, yeah. I don't really know what the deal is with that. He's trained, so I'd assume he's available. But
yeah, man.
Yeah, who knows? But go on, you did escape it, so I'll get one predictions from you. So league. So I'll go competitions. League. What's your prediction?
It's got to be number one, man.
Come on, numero uno, like that. Champions League.
Oh, I'm gonna say quarters again. I'm not gonna say semis.
Sure.
But yeah.
Any particular reason?
I just think I think our focus is going to be more on the league again, but I do think our team is capable to go to the quarters. I think that our target in the Champions League was to be competitive. Like, I know it's always good to just want to win it, but I think we can sort of go that extra mile.
Sure.
Again, that what people didn't think we'd do.
Yeah. Okay. So first in the league, quarters in the Champions League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup. Do you think we'll see an improvement in domestic performances?
We have to. I mean, I'd like to be optimistic and say we can definitely with more of a bigger squad depth now. Like in defence, that defensive department looks much stronger. So we haven't got Cedric and Holding being the second options. We've got like a Timber and a Calafiori as our next option. So we defos can, man. And hopefully we win an FA Cup again, because that's just one of my favorite ones, man.
It's the Arsenal Cup, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the Arsenal Cup.
Yeah, I would love if everything you said pans out, like first in the league, competitive in the Champions League, get to the quarterfinal. Sorry, but it means we get a double for a domestic cup or something. I'd love that. Obviously, you'd love to win them all, but who knows? But yeah.
Yeah, who knows?
No, but look, mate, thanks so much. This has been great. And yeah, like, well done for everything you've achieved. It's so nice to hear something that started as like a lockdown initiative out of a bit of a troublesome period has kind of boomed and is something that's really successful and a passion of yours. So yeah, really, really nice to hear. And guys, girls listening, go and support Rocky Nico. Like you said, you can follow him on Twitter at Rocky Nico, but I believe you said it's more active on your site where you've got the kind of live chat.
Yeah, so Instagram is probably more better.
Instagram, sorry.
Yeah, Insta and Twitter as well. Sometimes I post the odd thing in there. So yeah,
nice one. And we'll be doing a review of the season when we've won the league, got to the quarters of the Champions League, won the FA Cup, and we'll be sat here talking about which kits will be the ones that everyone needs in the future. Thanks a lot for listening, guys and girls. Drop the stream a like, hit subscribe if you're new here. And it's been nice to dust off the cobwebs. We'll be back. I think I'm going to do a couple of solo bits on Calafiori, some tactical stuff. And if I stay awake for the Liverpool game, do a bit on that tomorrow. But yeah, thanks a lot and catch you soon. Up the Arsenal.
Up the Arsenal. Thank you.